What did you make of West Ham, first of all, in this new dimension that Ward-Prowse seems to add to the team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't know if many of us were expecting, the way the actual game panned out. I think obviously the first game Chelsea played in, it was, there was plenty of encouragement there. I think for Chelsea fans, there was a lot of positives to take from that first game. But I think the way that West Ham have always been a bit of a bogey team, obviously it being a derby as well. It's always been a difficult game for Chelsea. But I thought that the way that they approached it was perfect. They were defensively sound. They were very disciplined in the right areas, and defensively, that's probably as good as I've seen them play. Actually,
yeah.
For a while, I think obviously they tailed off a lot towards sort of the latter end towards last season. Obviously, they then had a little pick me up with obviously the Conference League, and that was a great time for the fans. But I felt like in this game they looked threatening, which that's one thing they have been guilty of, is probably not being threatening enough. But on the break, they looked incisive. I thought Jarrod Bowen had a really good game as well. He looks like more of his old self. But like you mentioned there, they've always been really dangerous at set pieces, West Ham. But especially so now, obviously with the addition of with Ward-Prowse, and obviously on his debut getting 2 assists, which I'm sure he'll be absolutely over the moon with.
He's been. I've heard a few fans kind of almost snobbishly saying that Ward-Prowse is at his level since he got relegated to the Championship with Southampton. I feel that's really harsh because he's an England international for a reason, and he brings a lot to the game in midfield anyway, apart from his set pieces. And I feel like he fits West Ham's midfield quite nicely. And again, it isn't just because West Ham have always been a threat from set pieces. It just brings a bit of energy that I think they were going to lack anyway since Declan Rice left, doesn't he? And it felt like it made a difference from my perspective.
He's going to add a lot to that midfield because let's not forget, obviously, Edson Alvarez has come in really to replace Declan Rice, who's an absolutely unbelievable signing, I think, for me. We've seen obviously what he can do for Ajax and obviously in Europe in the past, and I think that's going to prove to be a very good signing. So Ward-Prowse is definitely, to bolster really and add to their weaponry, and I think he's definitely going to provide a lot more than just set pieces. We know he can actually control games. He's obviously got a really good range of passing. So
yeah,
I feel like it's a great signing for them, and what a way to start his West Ham career.
Well, it's interesting now because I know a lot of West Ham fans and a lot of neutrals were looking at West Ham at the end of last season and saying that, yes, okay, they did win a European trophy, which is a huge achievement, but we've been quite honest about what David Moyes' limitations are. He's still the same manager. I don't think he's got any higher to go in his ability. So is he still the right man for West Ham, really? Because we've seen these signings coming in and the potential new ones down the line. They're all a level above West Ham's kind of level at the minute. They're all kind of step forward signings. We thought that was the case last season, though, with the likes of Scamacca coming in. Hasn't quite worked out. So is Moyes the right man for the job? Only time will tell, I guess. But what do you think?
It's a really difficult question, isn't it? It depends how quickly they're going to go places, because I think once they start really progressing and getting to those, breaking into the top half of the Premier League, sort of approaching, between 1st and 8th place and kind of getting them around Europe again, then they might obviously there might be a decision to make. Let's not play down obviously the achievements of last season and what they managed to do. Obviously it was great, and I was actually really happy as a United fan to see actually David Moyes win a trophy. He's quite a likeable character, but I think there's a long way for them to go before they get to that stage. That's the main thing for me. They don't want to be in this predicament where they're kind of yo-yoing around mid-table. They're a massive club, and I feel like they do deserve more than kind of what they've been getting for the last few years. I do think they need another striker, and whoever they bring in depends. I think it's a big boost actually. Obviously, there's a lot of going on around Paquetá, isn't there? The controversy around that. Obviously, depending on what sort of punishment he gets for that, if there is any punishment at all, could hamper West Ham a little bit, because It looked like they were about to get a big fee for him from Man City, that they could have obviously then reinvested it back into the team and probably picked up another couple of really good players. So whether it works in their favour or not, and they end up keeping a really good player in Paquetá, or he ends up getting banned, like Ivan Toney, for a substantial amount of time, and that could well be the case.
Yeah, I think they've probably got their eye on the transfer market still, haven't they, really? There's a few players, like you mentioned, that they're after. But I think we've had West Ham down as finishing somewhere between 9th and 13th between the three of us. And I think that's probably where they'll finish as well, because to break any higher than 9th place in the Premier League is so hard, isn't it? It takes such a lift in budget. And they've had players in their team in their first 11, although they're brilliant, the likes of Mikel Antonio took his goal really well, Jared Bowen as well, who had a great game. These are players that have been in the starting lineup for 3 or 4 seasons now, and needs freshening, doesn't it, and evolving. It doesn't feel like that's happening quickly enough yet.